Alright, what's up y'all? It is Kara here, back with another good video for y'all today. I'm going to be covering some of these video topics that I have, but let's talk about video topic number one. Manuel Marquez tells Canelo he is not the greatest Mexican ever. Here are my thoughts on it. Alright, so let's get right to it. For those of you that don't know, Juan Manuel Marquez, he is by far one of the greatest Mexican legends ever to exist for Mexican boxing. He's a very good fighter, fought in multiple weight classes. For those of you that don't know, I'll just pull up his box check for you guys. Juan Marquez, he is a beast. That man was 56 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw. He's never been knocked out in his career. He has been dropped a couple times, but guess what? He's been the biggest warrior you will ever see in this world. But let's go over his resume. For those of you that don't know, this man has been fighting for quite some time, and he's been getting some really good victories. He won his first title, I believe, against Emmanuel Medina, which that was a very good fight. He knocked him out in 7 rounds. That was back in 2003. This is when Marquez was the man back in the day. Oh, and then he beat Derek Gainer. Whoa, he beat Derek Gainer? I mean, he wasn't how should I say? Derek Gainer wasn't in his full best back in the day. But, damn, Marquez beat him? Wow. Oh, but that was to his technical decision. But, wow, that's actually a really good victory. So, he beat Marquez, he beat Derek Gainer for his IBF and WBA title. Wow, dude, Derek Gainer, he won titles? Really? He did? Oh, and then he won the WBA. Dude, Derek Gainer, he's a beast, bro. He's a fucking beast. Even though he got knocked up by Chico Corrales, but still. Derek Gainer, he unified with Marquez. Actually, no. Yeah, they fought at featherweight. But then they fought for the super featherweight title. Oh, okay. Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense, though. Okay, I guess so, but... Yeah, after that, he went on to have his little Manny Pacquiao tour. He fought Manny Pacquiao to a split decision draw. That was for the IBF world title. And then after that, he defeated Orlando Salido. That was a good little scrap. Defeated him. And then he beat Victor Polo. That was a damn good fight. He unified the belts. Actually, no, he actually got the IBF. Oh, okay, yeah. So Marquez actually beat Gainer for the IBF because he was the IBF featherweight champion, and then he unified with Gainer. Yo, that's crazy, man. Yo, Marquez, he's a beast. He beat Orlando Salido, good journeyman that beat Lomachenko in the past. He was a world champion himself too, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he was, because I know he was. But yeah, Orlando Salido, he's a beast. Yeah, let's take a look at him real quick before we move on forward. Yeah, Orlando Salido, I know he won world titles. I know that. He won the interim. Yep, right here. Yep, he won the vacant world title, but he was overweight, so Lomachenko was the one that won it. But he actually beat Orlando Cruz for the WBO. Yep, so damn, that's crazy, man, bro. Orlando Salido, he's a beast, but he beat Juan Manuel Lopez. Yep, I remember that. And then he lost to Cristobal Cruz, and yo, dude, like Salido, he won some good titles, man. He fought some damn good competition. Wow. Yeah, but that's good, man. I mean, if anything, that was a damn good fight. That was like a really, really good fight back in the day with Marquez and Salido. Then he beat Victor Polo, and then he lost to Chris John. I guess he got, penalized with like the low blows. I remember that fight. Then after that, Terry Deschamps, Jang Dang, don't know how the hell you call his name, but he got the interim, and then he beat Jeremy Jackram for the interim, and then he beat Marco Barrera, which that was a legendary fight. I suggest y'all go see that fight. Really good fight. Then he beat Rocky Juarez for his title defense after he beat Barrera. He beat the man that beat the man. Then after that, he then lost to Manny Pacquiao again, which that was still a close fight. But well, no, he didn't beat him again, but he lost him officially in a split decision. That was a very close fight. Then after that, Juan Diaz. That was a damn good fight. He actually became a what? He's like a like 3 division world champion. No, he fought at featherweight, so featherweight, super feather. Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, and then he actually won. Yeah, he's a 3 division world champion. Wow, so super feather, feather, and lightweight. Damn, yo, dude, that's crazy, man. Bro, he's so good. Dude, he was a lightweight champion. And then after that, he lost to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather whooped him, which that was a good fight. Then after that, oh my God. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, I think that's it. Yep, he became 3 division world champion. Wow, that is crazy, bro. But that was good that he he had a good career. Obviously, the best victory ever is him knocking out Manny Pacquiao. So he knocked out Manny Pacquiao, got his little get back. Manny Pacquiao was never the same, so that's good. But yeah, let's get right to it without the video topics. I thought what Marquez said about Canelo, saying that Canelo Alvarez is not the best fighter in this current era, I definitely agree. Canelo definitely is not one of the best Mexicans of this era. There's plenty of other, all-time greats that have done it better than Canelo. But I think as far as what he was saying was that he was criticizing Canelo as far as what he did in the past to his previous opponents, and it just showed that Canelo was never to be like this type of fighter where he was like, how should I say, he was always I guess not the type of guy where he had everything going for him. But when you take a look at his past history, Canelo, he's been forcing guys to drain weight in order to fight him, because if y'all remember, he fought a lot of his opponents at a catch weight, similar to that with Manny Pacquiao in that manner, where he basically had certain contractual stipulations where he could fight at 155, and then he did the same thing at 160, where he fought at 161 or 162, and it just didn't make any sense, because Canelo knew that he can't beat these guys on an even playing field. He had to have some contractual stipulation being put in place to make sure that he could secure a victory. But every single one of his fights leading up to his I wouldn't even say leading up to, I'd probably say leading up to maybe Caleb Plant, or maybe Caleb Smith. I'm not too sure, but I'd probably say his recent fight with Caleb Plant, that was as maybe sort of clean as far as what we can speculate on. But I'm just hoping Canelo, he didn't cheat in that fight. If he did, then I'm gonna flame the shit out of him. But no, if you just look at his previous historical history with his fights, he's always been that type of guy where he's just never been fair and honest with his opponents as far as making weight with them on an even playing field. Even especially in his world title fights, he did the same thing. He tried to force a catch weight. He tried to have all these rehydration clauses and all this bullshit put in place where his opponents can't balloon up in weight, so that way he could secure, I guess, the weight advantage over him or over his opponents, so that way he could do more damage to his opponents while they're drained out in weight. So yeah, Canelo, he's a diva, man. I've already been said that about Canelo. I never liked Canelo as far as what he's done, but the problem is just set in stone to say that Canelo, he strategically ducked his best opposition, but he also screwed over his least to somewhat best threat opposition to a certain extent, where he wanted to have everything his way, and he got it, and he was able to, like, prioritize his, contractual stipulation bullshit on his opponents, where he was able to get away with it, and it was really stupid and very messed up. But let's talk about Mr. Juan Manuel Marquez. He was right about that. He said everything what everybody else has been saying about Canelo. You don't fight guys on an even playing field. You don't have these, fair fights on a even measurement, because, he's been caught with cheating, especially in the past with computerol, and he always has to have like these extended drug screening windows where he's able to flush everything out of his system, where he doesn't, take everything lightly with abiding to all the proper rules of being drug tested. He tries to force a lot of his fights to be at a catch weight, which I've already stated that before, and he's never fought the top level opposition. He's never fought real champions back to back, and he's never went through true adversity with all the greatest champions, because he had all those opportunities set in stone where he could have fought everybody, but at the same time he did not want to do it. Like, I mean, like to Canelo's point of view, he probably didn't want to fight those guys then, but now that he sees weaknesses out of them, now he wants to fight them. Which is like very smart out of Canelo's pioneered ducking tactics, but to the boxing fans in the boxing world, that's absolutely retarded, and that makes Canelo's imagery look a lot worse, to the sense of Canelo is not actually like this type of fighter that you guys say that he is, because he is very vulnerable every time he faces low-level opposition. And I mean, the problem that I have with Canelo is that every time when he faces low-level opposition, and then the minute he steps up to higher-level opposition, he looks bad. It's true. And I think that, especially with the Caleb Plant fight, it just showed that Canelo is not levels above pure boxers. Yeah, he got Caleb with like a good shot, and Caleb, he got knocked out. In which, I mean, Caleb, he didn't really get knocked out. He was able to get back up. But Canelo knew at that point in time, the only way he beat Caleb was that he had to tire him out mentally and physically, and he had to get Caleb switched off. And that's when Canelo, he landed that big shot, and boom, okay, good job. You got a good, a formidable victory. But at the same token, Juan Manuel Marquez was making the point to say Canelo, he does not take all the toughest competition. He does not represent the true Mexican heritage where he goes after everybody. He has been ducking and dodging all of his greatest contemporaries leading up to him getting undisputed, and he was never really a true undisputed champion, because he could have done it at 154. He avoided all the top competition there. Did the same thing at 160, where he was just like one fight away to unify with Demetrius Andrade, and then he decided to move all the way up to 175 to challenge Sergey Kovalev, a fight that obviously was just there for him to stay busy, and he only wanted to fight Kovalev simply for the matter of he saw weakness in Kovalev, and then he gave Kovalev a short week's notice in order for him to take the fight. So Kovalev was like, okay, well, screw it. I'll just go get this quick payday, and then I'll just basically lay down for Canelo. And, even that fight had, massive controversy to it. But, I mean, ever since then, after he won the belt, he vacated it, and then he went straight back down to whatchamacallit, I believe Canelo, Saul Alvarez. I know that he actually went back down to 160, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Kovalev. Actually, no. Canelo actually went to 168. Yeah, he went to 168 the minute when David Benavidez lost his title off the scale. So he didn't have to fight anybody for the vacancy other than unify with Caleb Smith, which is absolutely retarded because by the WBC rules, you're actually supposed to fight the number 2 or whatever, like ranking contender for the WBC title. So if anything, Canelo should have fought David Benavidez for that belt instead of fighting Caleb Smith. So the WBC had it set in stone to allow Canelo to be given this political protection to get the WBC title, and then this is when he went on his European tour once again to fight Caleb Smith, Avni Yildirim, Billy Ho, Saunders, and then Caleb Plant, which Caleb Plant was absolutely destroying Canelo, the majority of those rounds. But at the same token, Canelo knew that was a very difficult fight. That's why he didn't want to go after Caleb Plant earlier, because Caleb Plant, he could have easily defeated Canelo at that time, but I think it was mainly due to the COVID and the, lockdowns and shit. And I think Canelo, he just didn't want to take that risk in fighting Caleb Plant. He'd rather just come back out of COVID to fight Caleb Smith prior to the Sergey Kovalev victory once David Benavidez lost his belt off the scale. So that just comes to show, Canelo, he didn't want that smoke at 168 simply because of David Benavidez. But Canelo did it right. He perfected his ducking tactics very well. But I think at this point, Canelo knows that his career is at stake if he is to fight David Benavidez next, because David Benavidez is obviously calling himself the real WBC champion, and Canelo knows that David Benavidez poses a massive risk and a threat to him. So I think what really just shows out of David Benavidez' skill set is that Canelo, he has great tools, but those tools have never been used under pressure. And what David Benavidez can show to Canelo is that I can bring that pressure, but I could also, basically decapitate your greatest strengths to make you feel uncomfortable, and also decipher you as the fight goes on. And I think that's what Canelo is afraid of. He's afraid of that massive pressure that Benavidez gives to him. And I mean, people want to say David Benavidez, he can't box, he can't do all that, but David Benavidez is a damn good pressure fighter. He's a damn good inside puncher, and I truly believe if he used his jab all night long to Canelo is afraid of anybody that offsets him with a jab. And when he gets caught by that crazy 1-2 hook, duck under, combination that David Benavidez does, I truly believe Canelo, he will definitely stand down to Benavidez, and he'll just quit, because Canelo knows what David Benavidez possesses. He possesses that massive height and reach advantage over him, but then on top of that, it's that body pressure that he smothers onto you when he gets you to the ropes or catches you to the inside. And I mean, David Benavidez, he could just jab Canelo to the body all night, and then when David finds that massive shot to just bob and weave against Canelo's left hook or his uppercuts, I truly believe Canelo, he will get stopped by David Benavidez, because he can't trade with David Benavidez. David Benavidez is going to hurt him late game. And I mean, look, the way that Canelo responds to big punches, his body language is not that good. And I think he hides it very well. But I think when you hit Canelo to the body and you mix it up with him, Canelo, he gets very afraid. He starts to, fade down or fade out. And then that's when Canelo's body language starts to show, defeat. Because, he's not used to that type of pressure, where that pressure is able to go the full distance on a full gas tank. But Juan Manuel Marquez made a good point about Canelo. He said what he had to say about him. And I stand on that, because Marquez, at least for him, he fought all the best competition without having, to cheat against anybody. And Marquez was a damn good fighter. He did everything that he had to do in order to, win his fights. And I think what David Benavidez would possess against Canelo. I think that's what Marquez is trying to say. He's basically saying that Canelo does not want to take the biggest risk, and he's always been that type of guy to never fight guys on an even playing field. And I mean, even if Canelo tries to cheat in this fight, I think David Benavidez is gonna more than likely, say what he needs to say against Canelo. And I would hope David Benavidez, he could press charges on Canelo, so that way Canelo, he can be held accountable for his actions. But hopefully, if that fight does get made, David Benavidez can make sure everything is set in stone, so Canelo can be held accountable for his actions leading up to that fight. But I think with the Mexican fan base supporting David Benavidez a lot, I truly believe all these haters towards Benavidez will be shunned out very, very well, by the Mexican fan base. And I would hope that the fans can call for a fair, clean fight, because if you guys don't keep that same energy with Benavidez and Canelo, then where was that same energy between Canelo and Triple G, or Canelo versus, let's just say, any of his other contemporaries that gave him problems? Like, I mean, Canelo obviously didn't cheat against all of his tough fights, but leading up to, well, I'd probably say that the first Triple G fight, that's when Canelo got exposed. But leading up to all of his easier fights, like the Caleb Smiths of the world, and the Rocky Fieldings of the world, and the Billy Ho Saunders of the world, and Avni Yildirim, don't you think that Canelo, was juicing, or basically Canelo definitely had to have been on drugs, within those fights, because if he was able to roll right through all these guys within 11 months for him to get undisputed at 168, it pretty much showed that Canelo, he had to bet on some form of performance enhancers, or doing some form of doping mechanisms to make sure that he cleans out his system, within a certain amount of weeks. And then even leading up to the Caleb Plant fight, Caleb Plant, obviously wanted 12-week drug testing for him and Canelo only wanted 10 instead of 12. So I think it pretty much just shows, like, Canelo, he does have something hiding behind his back, but he doesn't show it because he's smart about it, and he knows, like, what he needs to do in order to make sure that he's not exposed for being held accountable for him holding drugs up inside his body. So yeah, Marquez made a really good point. He did what he had to do to say all the things about Canelo, and I think Canelo knows that deep down, and I would really hope Canelo, he could really just fight clean, for the rest of his career. But I just kind of feel like the fear is still built inside of Canelo, and Canelo knows that he has a lot to prove for the rest of his boxing career. So I guess, like, whatever is left in Canelo's legacy, Marquez made a good point to say that he's not the greatest Mexican ever, which I definitely agree. He is definitely one of the biggest frauds in Mexican boxing, but I would definitely say that Marquez had a way better legacy compared to Canelo. So shout out to the Mexican legend Juan Manuel Marquez. He definitely said what he had to say about Canelo, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.